Hello everyone, and welcome to Part 6, Modules and Packages. You've seen Python import statements before, but you've probably wondered, how do they work and how do we create our own? It's actually quite simple, and we'll talk about it more when we actually reach Django. But let's find out the very basics of modules and get started with the editor. Okay, so here I am at the editor, and in this lecture we're basically just going to be showing you how you can create your own module and then import it into another file. So here, under my project folder, I'm going to right-click, add a new file, and I will call this mymodule.py. And here it's just going to be a very simple function. We'll say func in module, close parentheses, and this just prints out I am inside the mymodule.py .py file. Save that, and then I will create a new file, and I will call this myprogram.py. And this is going to be representative of my program. So we can even do something like split left and right here, so I can see both of them at the same time. So again, there's my module, and here's my program, and we can see they're both inside the same folder. So how can I actually grab code from my module.py and use it in my program? Well, there's various ways, and I'll show you the simplest first. We can say import my module, and note that there's other things here. So there's the built-in modules and the modules you use conda install or pip install with, and those are saved in a specific location in Python that you can always call them from no matter where you are. In this case, since I'm actually in the same folder as this py file, I can call my module. And then if I want to call a function from my module, I can say my module dot func module. And then I can say close parentheses to actually call it. So now, if I say Python and call my program.py, I get back I am inside my module.py file. And when you ran that file, you probably noticed that you got this PyCache folder. And inside this PyCache folder is some mymodule.c python code.pyc. And if you try to open that and read it, there's just a bunch of junk in here that you're not going to be able to actually see. And basically what happens is when you run a program in Python, the interpreter compiles it to bytecode first. And that's kind of an oversimplification, but essentially it stores that in the PyCache folder. And if you look in there, you find a bunch of files sharing the names of the .py files in your projects folder, only their extensions are going to be .pyc. And essentially what this is, it's bytecode compiled and optimized bytecode compiled versions of your program's file. And if you're just a programmer, you can essentially just ignore it. All it does is it makes your program start a little faster the next time you run it. And when your scripts change, they're going to be recompiled. And if you delete the files or the whole folder and run your program again, they're going to reappear. Again, really, you can just pretty much ignore this PyCache file. But I just want you to be aware, and don't be surprised if you see it being created. Okay, moving along. Let's show you the other various ways you can import from a module. So one way, again, import the actual file and then call it off my module. Another way is to say import my module as something. So you don't want to write my module every time you want to use a function for my module. So maybe you say import as mm. And then you can shorten my module here to just mm. And I save that, I run Python on my program.py, and I still get I am inside the module.py file. So that's another way you can call it. If you actually just plan on using a few specific functions from my module.py, you probably don't want to import the entire module. You just want to import a few functions. And in that case, you can say from my module, import, and then the name of the function or classes you want to import. So we say import func module. And then I don't need to call anything prefacing it or prefixing it. We'll just say func module, run this, and I can see I am inside the my module.py file. Now let's see one last example, and this is the example that I'm going to show you, but it's really not recommended you do this. You can say from my module import asterisk, and this will import everything from my module, and you can just call func module just like we did last time. So this is frowned upon. You shouldn't really do this sort of asterisk behavior, but basically the reason for that is it kind of wastes a lot of memory in importing everything with this asterisk. Okay. So again, use the first three methods I showed you, and you can always reference the notes for that. But hopefully now you have a basic understanding of how you can create one Py file with a bunch of functions or classes, and then call it from another Py file. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.